Hello and welcome to Big Shoulders, the show where we go over the civic technology space here in Chicago. And today I have with me Quilen Blackwell.
Hey, how you doing today, Adam?
Great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Quilen's with Blackwell Energies, and we met at Englewood Blue. Englewood Blue, if you don't know about it, is a new incubator and business accelerator that's opening up in Englewood. And I met him when he was doing an interview for somebody else's webcast.
Right.
I was sort of listening with one ear, and it piqued my attention. So tell us a little bit about Blackwell Energies. What is it that you guys do?
Yeah, so Blackwell Energies is a startup company that I founded in 2014. So we specialize in energy efficiency upgrades for small to medium-sized businesses, and we also do business expense auditing. So our whole mission is really to try to help our clients minimize their carbon footprint through energy conservation, as well as helping them to find savings in their utility bills.
So there's economic advantage. You want them to learn about that and to help them do it. And then how do you go about doing this? Do you do audits? Do you go on site? How do you do this?
Yeah, so like we'll do like internal upgrades, so things like light bulbs, aerators, pipe wrapping, and then we'll also look at their physical bills, so their ComEd bill, their gas bills, and we'll have our in-house auditors sort of examine the bills and try to see if there's like any overages or mistakes that the billing agency may have made, and then we work on their behalf to correct those mistakes.
And typically, who are your clients? What kinds of businesses?
So it's typically like dental offices, restaurants, daycare centers. So it's generally like small to medium-sized businesses in the Chicago area.
Terrific. And when I met you, you were talking a little bit about social enterprises. What is your interest in social enterprise?
Yeah, so I'm part of a startup nonprofit that I lead in addition to some of my friends called the Chicago EcoHouse. So what we do with the EcoHouse is try to use sustainability and green energy to create economic opportunities for some of the most downtrodden people in the city of Chicago. Right now our focus is in the Englewood neighborhood, mainly because it's been hit pretty hard economically. In terms of just some of the economic indicators in Englewood, it has about 44% poverty rate, 22% unemployment rate. The population has declined over the last 30 to 40 years from about a peak of 63,000 to about 33 to 30,000 today. So, it's a neighborhood that, for all intents and purposes, is very, very poor. And there's really not a lot of business development. The middle class has really been stripped out of that neighborhood and have moved to other parts of the city, whether it be the South Loop or the North Side of Bronzeville. So we think that Englewood's an ideal place to start for our nonprofit. And
it's interesting because you're working in Englewood. I'm doing some work in Englewood. Greater Englewood Community Development Corporation is very, very active. Teamwork Englewood has never been busier.
Right.
I feel like there is something going on there that it's on the cusp of moving forward. What is your sense on what's happening there that's driving all this activity?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a very exciting time. So the thing about Englewood is that it occupies prime Chicago real estate, right? Because you have 5 CTA bus stops, or CTA train stops in the neighborhood, which is unprecedented for a city of Chicago neighborhood. You have 3 stops on the red line and 2 stops on the green line. It's also not that far from Chicago Midway Airport. You're not that far from the lake and 63rd Street Beach and UFC, University of Chicago, and you're only about 15, 20 minutes from downtown. So it's an ideal place for someone to want to live. So as a result, the city and a lot of business leaders have really identified Englewood as sort of like one of the next places to try to turn over. And as a result, like you see, with mentioned Greater Englewood CDC, not only did they bring in Englewood Blue, the new business accelerator, but they're also spearheading the Whole Foods project on 63rd
Right.
Halsted, which is going to create a new retail center. Not only with the Whole Foods, there's going to be a Starbucks, there's going to be a Chipotle, and in addition to that, there's really a lot of green and sustainability work going on within the neighborhood. So you have the Wood Street Farm, which is part of Growing Home. Located in Englewood. The first container house in the city of Chicago is being built in Englewood off of 58th and Elizabeth. And just for some of your viewers, a container house is just simply those shipping containers that you see on the trucks or in the shipyards that's retrofitted for housing. It's very energy efficient. It's pretty cost effective. Put solar panels, so on and so forth. Then you have Kennedy King College there, which has a very robust culinary program. So there's a lot of very positive activity going on there.
Right, and it sounds like there's a lot of social enterprise going on there because there's the opportunity to profit from this, to participate in the economic opportunity. You had briefly mentioned Chicago EcoHouse. Tell us a little bit more.
Okay, so
and your involvement in it too.
Well, so I lead it, so I'm the president. Right now it's all a volunteer organization. And so what we do is we really work with like larger companies such as the Cook County Forest Preserve, Steinhardt Builders, Rebuilding Exchange to try to provide entry-level job opportunities for ex-offenders, homeless young adults and youth in the neighborhood. And also we work to acquire vacant lots and vacant property. So right now we are converting a vacant lot in conjunction with Urban Prep High School into an urban farm right now. We're also looking to convert abandoned housing into eco-homes that sort of double as housing for homeless young adults, but also can be subsidized housing for people who currently live in the neighborhood. So really like what we're trying to do is sort of use sustainability not only as an opportunity to bring, to sort of lift the boats of those who are most affected economically, but to also act as almost a safety net against gentrification. Because, like one of the biggest problems with gentrification is it ends up pushing a lot of the residents who currently live there who can't afford the increased rents, the increased prices of food and other goods and services, and they end up getting pushed further away from the city. And we don't want to have that happen in Englewood, because we sort of look at Englewood as sort of being in that pre-gentrification phase.
So that's an example of a social enterprise that is working to bring in not only the people who are directly involved in it, but let's call it clients into the middle class.
Right.
So building a vibrant middle class, which is important for economic development and future sustainability. For somebody who wants to become a social entrepreneur, you've been there. How does that, what kind of advice do you give for them? How does that work? What do they do?
The first thing I think is to identify a passion that's connected to a problem in the city. So for everyone's going to be different. For me, I merged my passion of, sort of caring for the poorest of our city with my passion for renewable energy and, birthed the EcoHouse out of that. But, for someone else, it may be animals. For someone else, it may be domestic abuse. But the first thing is really to find that passion. And then, really, my first step was just going out there and talking to business people and people who are already in that space. It's not like I developed the idea of the EcoHouse in a vacuum. I spent probably about a good year and a half, 2 years prior, just really meeting with people, just picking people's brains, just trying to seek wise counsel, just so I can sort of find how I can fit within the space. Because I think one of the problems that a lot of young entrepreneurs run into is that, we think that, we're the newest guy on the block, we think we're pioneering something brand new, and there's a lot of predecessors who came before us who, were really standing on their shoulders. So I think it's really wise to kind of tap into that first before you start just launching out there. And in the process, you really develop allies, partners. I'd be lying if I would say that, we sort of got to where we are by ourselves. I mean, there's definitely been a lot of older people and successful people who've helped us along the way. And that's just because we reached out. And you'll be surprised how many people would be willing to help you when you just ask.
That's amazing. So it's tapping into the resources who know, aligning your mission with the business community that's out there that may be able to help you fund some of this stuff, and finding something that you're passionate about where there is a need in the city.
Right,
Fantastic. Exactly. Quilen Blackwell, Blackwell Energies, thank you very much. This has been Big Shoulders.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Adam.
Thank you.